Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For all those new people out there, my name is John. I am going to be doing a reading today in regards to the Twin Flame Collective. I just got kind of this like weird overall sensation calling me to do a reading, and when I get those, I definitely do readings. That's part of the gig, right? So here I am doing the reading. Sorry I never did come out with the karmic video update. It just became one of those things. I actually shuffled the cards, started to deal it out, and it was just too much for me to even want to look at. So I just had to kind of scrap it, unfortunately. I guess I'm just not in that place right now. And I think it's kind of just due to my confusion as to what's going on in my current, twin flame connection, whether or not, which person is even my twin. Like I have a lot of confusion right now in regards to that, whether or not the original person that I've been thinking and have been pursuing and chasing after is actually my twin, or if it's an entirely different person altogether who I thought was my soulmate. So it's been really, really kind of confusing for me on my end as to what's going on and whatnot. So, I'm not in a bad place mentally or emotionally by any means. I'm just confused, a little lost, and unsure of what to make of it all. So, with that being said, I have pre-shuffled, pre-prayed, obviously, and we'll just pull some cards here. I'll give one shuffle here on camera just so we can all see it getting done. All right. Cool. I hope everybody's been doing okay and doing well on their own journeys. I think I'm down to just one reading that still has to be caught up on. And I am going to get that out to you tomorrow. I don't know if I should say your name, but I think you know who you are. So if you have an outstanding video and whatnot, it will be coming tomorrow. I typically just don't do anything on Sundays, but now it's 12:05 a.m. my time, so Monday, why not, right? Alright, let's see. We're going to do headspace, heartspace, likely outcome, combined likely outcome, headspace, heartspace, likely outcome for the Divine Feminine. It is a little bit later at night, so hopefully the volume issue isn't too bad, because typically I do talk louder than this, but I'm trying to be respectful of sleeping people, so let's just get right into this here. Okay, so under the headspace for the Divine Masculine, we have the representation of the Queen of Swords, which is obviously going to be a representation of the Divine Feminine, but still the Divine Feminine in that kind of a colder, cutting energy, more logical, more standoffish, guarded, defensive kind of nature. However, in this deck, the Queen of Swords representation is a little bit more colorful than the other two decks, as there is butterflies and still like growth and roses and things like that. So there is a bit more of a positive connotation with this top deck in the representation of the Queen of Swords. So I feel like they might be actually seeing the Divine Feminine in more of a logical manner and starting to understand why the Divine Feminine may have been standing their ground, why they may have been, a little bit more standoffish, standing up for themselves. If there's been some cold or cutting conversations, arguments, things like that, why they have been presenting themselves in this manner. Under the heart space, we have death here. So this could mean a lot of things for the Divine Masculine. This could really be a ego death. This could be a transformation. This can be death and rebirth. this can be the feeling of things coming to a complete end. This could really be a lot of the divine masculines being lost as far as either the connection, or this could be the death of something else altogether, just emotionally. For the divine masculines, we'll obviously get more clarity as we pull more cards, but that's kind of what I'm picking up on so far. That maybe there's a lot of transformation going on in the heart space of the divine masculine. With the death card, obviously, that really represents the possibility for a lot of rebirth and new birth coming in. Something has to end in order for something else to begin. So this could be a very positive card overall for the divine masculines. Obviously, clarifiers are going to help us out quite a bit here. The likely outcome here for the divine masculine, though, is the Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords really talks a lot about nightmares, anxiety, stress, panic, sleepless nights, worrying, things of that nature. So in this combination here between all three cards in the Divine Masculine's overall area, we kind of see like this cutting cold side from the Divine Feminine leading into this like death space of their heart emotion, and then sleepless nights and stress. So this could really be the divine masculine feeling the divine feminine completely pulling away, and them kind of going through the stress and the anxiety and the realization of them actually leaving them, and kind of going through this whole process internally of going like, whoa, did this actually really happen? Did this person that's always been there, always been in my life, actually finally leave me? Did it happen? Am I ever going to see this person again? And them worrying about it as well. So that's one of the things I'm picking up on here. In the headspace of the Divine Feminine, we have the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands represents them being pretty guarded, defensive, mentally. This could be the Divine Feminine's really looking at the situation from a whole and not being sure that they're ready to reopen anything with the Divine Masculine, or they could just be in a really guarded place in their life and feeling really defensive about everything that's happened. Do they want more of the same? Are they sure they want to go down this path one more time? Do they really want to put in the added work, energy, effort for this person who may or may not have been doing the work in the past, who may have hurt them several times in the past? That kind of defensive nature is what I'm picking up on here. The Ten of Pentacles in the heart space. This really talks about the Divine Feminines coming into a place in their life where they're kind of focusing more on, materialistic things, but also family and the abundance there, So this could be them trying to get their financial situations in order to have a more abundant home life, family life, things like that. This is still in that same desired space of having a fulfilling home life. It's a little less emotional, obviously, as it's not the Ten of Cups, yet it's still represented with the mother, father, 2 kids, 2 dogs, kind of thing. So there's still an abundance element with the Ten of Pentacles, obviously, and it still has that family home life, esque-ish kind of feeling to it. The likely outcome here, or suggested outcome potentially, is the Eight of Wands. So the Eight of Wands talks about communication coming in. So with what they're feeling and thinking, something in this area may actually bring in conversation from either an outside source that helps progress things in their situation with the Divine Masculine, or the Divine Masculine may actually finally reach out. This could also just be any outside conversation in general that helps progress their self-growth and progression of their own journey here. The overall ending energy, which I didn't touch on yet, is the Hermit here. And the Hermit card really speaks a lot about going internal to reflect on everything that's going on internally, how you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you want, and finding the enlightenment within yourself. Taking some time just to really sit in your thoughts. Move away from all the distractions of the day-to-day world, whether that be television or the internet or just filling your time with other people, so you don't have to sit there and hear your own thoughts to a certain degree. Kind of going through that place and intentionally removing anything that could be distracting you or holding you back from internally reflecting on what's going on around you, in order to get kind of some clarity on, this, all of it here. Um, the suggested advice from the universe and or likely outcome for the both of them here is the Seven of Cups, which is an interesting middle card here for the both of them, because that really talks about illusions and choices. So this talks about being confronted, going down a path with multiple different options. And obviously, all options are going to take you probably to the same road, but in the understanding that some options are going to be less desirable than other options. Some are going to have much more pitfalls and harder trials to go down if you do happen to make the wrong choice, versus some of the other ones that are going to have easier paths and easier choices, just depending on how you play out the situation. Are you picking what's best for you? Are you intentionally doing things that are building yourself up, despite how hard they are? Because obviously sometimes the roads less traveled oftentimes lead to the best and highest results for oneself. So it's kind of a card like that. The Seven of Cups is like this 50-50 card where it could go either way. And it really just depends on what choice and options that you want to make. But you're being confronted with so many choices that you may be unsure of which way to head. And this is another thing that the Hermit helps break by going internal and taking some time just to yourself, so you have the know-how to handle the different options that you are presented with, so you can head down the path clearly. All right, let's get some more clarifiers here. Well, we had two come up here. I'm going to leave them both. Shit. Alright. So the ending energy here for the both parties is going to be the Two of Swords, which is being confronted with having to make a choice. It's a lot like coming to a fork in the road, right? On this journey, and you gotta pick one road or the other. And once you pick one road, you can't go down the other. It's kind of like that cutting away of the barrier, so you can proceed down the other way, and you're no longer stuck at this fork in the road. You have to pick one or the other, and then once you proceed down the other, there is no going back. You can't undo what's been done. So with the Queen of Swords, we have the Seven of Pentacles, but the Seven of Pentacles in this deck versus the regular Rider-Waite deck, which is all about like growing and like kind of tending to the crops kind of thing. This is more of a spiritualization and manifestation. Same sort of idea. It's still growing. It's still putting thought and energy into an area and watching it breed out that kind of area. But with it being under the Queen of Swords, this really talks about, them kind of feeling like maybe they've either manifested the Queen of Swords energy by, some of their actions or some of their thoughts. This could be the Divine Masculine really realizing that a lot of their own actions or own thoughts are projecting onto the Divine Feminine in a way that's creating more of this same energy. The more they project, the more they manifest, the more they think about the Divine Feminine either being cold, cutting, cut off, distant, whatever, defensive, however you want to phrase that, is possibly what's breeding in more of this same energy here of that kind of nature from the Divine Feminine. It's the realization that if they're constantly treating their Divine Feminine like they are cold or distant or cut off or whatever, like that kind of argumentative state, that they're probably only going to get more of that same sort of feeling from the Divine Feminine, as they're met with a defensive nature or being treated constantly like they're this person. They're only being given one avenue of approach, and that is to be said person. There's really no room for growth or action outside of that. With the Death card and the Three of Pentacles here, this is kind of an interesting combination because the Three of Pentacles really talks a lot about a public image, partnerships, relationships, even on the business side of things. But mainly more of like a public eye or a public image and some sort of death transformation, coming to this partnership, or whatever that entails. Whether this means the ending of a job, whether this means the ending of a karmic relationship, or even just maybe it's not even a karmic relationship. Maybe they're with a soulmate or something like that. But some sort of death in regards to a partnership, business arrangement, public image, some sort of transformation or death or ending there. It is likely to come in the heart space for the Divine Masculine here. And underneath the Nine of Swords, we have the Seven of Wands. So the Seven of Wands is about kind of having to stand your ground. And the Nine of Swords in conjunction to having them stand their ground is probably what's causing a lot of anxiety here. The two cards between themselves are neither really very positive cards. Obviously, the Nine of Swords is not a positive card whatsoever, where the Seven of Wands can go either way, just kind of depending on the situation. But the combination of the two really tells me that them probably standing their ground or something like that is either causing them anxiety because they're standing their ground, or the idea of having to stand their ground is causing them anxiety. This could be falling back to this death of this partnership or something like that. If they feel like they're going to have to stand their ground over ending, a karmic situation, or if they feel like they're going to have to stand their ground over, taking on a new business role or something like that, this could really be causing a lot of anxiety. We'll get some more clarity here as we pull more cards, obviously, but it's kind of it could go a lot of different ways. And obviously, with it being a general reading, depending on who's this message is in particularly for, it could go a lot of different ways for a lot of different people. Under the headspace for the Divine Feminine, we have the Nine of Wands with the Six of Swords. So this to me talks about, some defensiveness about leaving a situation. The Divine Feminine may have packed up their stuff. I know I get a lot of comments on my videos, and I've talked to a lot of different twins that are in a situation where they're like, fuck this, I am done and leaving my twin for good, even if maybe they're not my twin, maybe they're a false twin. And there's some obvious defensiveness here mentally about this. I think the defensiveness could go either way. It could be defensive about having to change their mind about coming back, or defensive about, keeping this mentality about leaving. It really could go either way. It could be that they're defensive in the nature, and this is what's causing them to leave, to pack up their stuff and head to calmer times. It's worth the risk to see what else is out there, because, of everything that's transpired, everything that's gone on. Um, so underneath the Ten of Pentacles, we have Judgment here. Judgment with the Ten of Pentacles talks about, another level of spiritual ascension, a new awakening, a new calling, a new understanding to what it is that they're doing. And this could really be in regards to their home life, their family life, or their, financial situation, coming into a new abundance or needing to come into a new abundance, and why they're doing it. On a spiritual level, and on another level of an ascension process to this entire journey here. Them really growing to a new level of understanding of what they even want potentially out of their home life or family situation. With the Eight of Wands, with the Ace of Swords here, we have some sort of logical new breakthrough, a new understanding, a new sense of enlightenment that comes in the form of conversation. So this could be, outside parties that are not even the divine masculine or anybody like that. It could be a friend that just shares some advice that provides you with a new way of understanding your situation. It could be a comment that you happen to read of, whatever the case may be, but some sort of conversation is likely to come in here, which is going to, provide a logical breakthrough, some sort of new insight, new understanding, obviously in the form of communication. So maybe a heart-to-heart conversation that really opens the doors and sheds some light onto the entire situation in a whole, as to what direction you should be moving with your life, taking with your life, where to go. And I do think that this is really interesting that we have the Two of Swords here, and then we get two different cards, right? And this is almost like so perfect for the Seven of Cups that we have up here, because we have the Tower, which is like, holy shit, like, damn it, I don't want that anymore, like, I'm over this. And then we have the Sun, which is the most positive card in the deck. So it's like you are confronted with all these different options, and then you have to make a choice, and on which way you proceed. And why I'm feeling like we have two here, especially with this ending energy of the Two of Swords, is it's like almost, hey, make a choice. One's going to lead you to a positive situation. And I do think it's really interesting that this Sun card in particular actually has twins that are kind of like dancing around it. I don't know if you can make it out. It's kind of whatever. But you have twins over here, like twins and fire, because it's the sun. It's like a twin flame connection potentially. I always kind of thought so, but there's a bunch of positivity that with the sun. It's absolute enlightenment. It's all the growth. It's the positivity. And then the Tower is all about, shaking foundations all the way to the core, and bringing everything down. So it's like almost this black and white, kind of thing. And I really feel like, depending on what choices are made here and what decision gets made over here, what are you confronted with? What choice do you have to make to proceed down this path? I feel like either way, you're going to find your way through this path and stay on the same journey, but how it looks is going to be, the difference of night and day almost here. So just kind of an interesting mirroring here, or, between these two. This also, I should say that this also could be the Divine Masculine's Tower over here, as they do have some kind of heavier energy going on between the Death card and the Nine of Wands. And the Sun card could absolutely be for the Divine Feminine, Just kind of the way it got laid out and everything like that. Totally not intentional, but definitely a possibility. All right, let's get some more clarifiers here. The hell? Alright, so we got kind of a bunch of cards that came out for the Divine Masculine. The ending energy, though, is actually really positive for the Divine Masculine, as it is the Six of Wands, which talks about movement forward and victory and success over, the challenges and the battles that they're going to be facing here throughout this situation. I will say that right away, this underneath the Queen of Swords with this manifestation, and kind of this projecting and things like that, it really this is some pretty heavy cards here for them to come up, because we have the Seven of Swords, we have the Page of Swords, and then we have the Moon. So the Seven of Swords obviously talks about, cheating, deception, lying, sneaking around, that kind of behavior. To me, with what you have here, in this area, it's like kind of the realization potentially for the Divine Masculine to realize that, hey, a lot of my situation, or a lot of what's been going on, if there has been a karmic partner in the situation, or a karmic partner in the mix, and there's been lying, sneaking around, deceptive behavior, things like that, cheating, obviously. This is something that's breeding this Queen of Swords energy. This is what's getting the cutting, argumentative, disruptive energy out of from the Divine Feminine, obviously. And with it being in the headspace, it's almost like there's a realization that, hey, maybe my actions are actually causing some of this shit to play out and to go on. It's like, well, obviously, dude, like, duh, like, that's clearly what's going on, and it has been going on. But hopefully this realization of this projection, and like, hey, well, I'm projecting this energy out, like, and this is what's causing it. Take care of it. It's a constant. I mean, I don't think that this card has once shown up on the Divine Feminine side since I've started doing these readings. Anyone, if you want to go back through all my videos and confirm that for me, like, please do. I'd love to know. Like, I'm not gonna go through it, but I genuinely, I do not feel like this has ever once been on this side of, since I've started doing these readings here. We have the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords I oftentimes use as a representation of the karmic, but typically when things are kind of going in a negative way, when things are becoming petty, argumentative, kind of like you're walking on eggshells, or it's tumultuous in nature. There's a lot of turbulence with the Page of Swords here. With these two in combination, it's kind of like I feel like they're starting to see this bigger picture between the two, and realizing that this karmic situation may actually be genuinely what's causing all of their issues and what's proceeding forward to cause, them all the stress, these sleepless nights, this anxiety, this continued path, and hopefully the realization that the karmic absolutely must 100% go, in order for them to really ever proceed forward. This means completely removing them as much as possible from the picture. Obviously everybody's situations are different, whether there's kids involved, marriages, things like that. That's obviously going to, play a pretty big part. But this really talks a lot about removing some of the more casual interactions that open the door again for this codependent, forever non-ending cycle that the divine masculine has been going through for the better part of a year. And talking about the ending of that, or needing to end that, because that is what's causing the reaction of the divine feminine having to stand their ground, having to be cold, cutting, argumentative, harsh words, things of that nature. It's really what's breeding it in. The moon here talks about, kind of some dark times here for the divine masculine in their headspace, some potential struggles really is what I'm kind of picking up on, feeling completely alone or isolated, unsure of what their next step forward is. Potentially even realizing the illusion of everything that's been going on. Starting to maybe take accountability especially with the Seven of Pentacles here. Like this to me is like almost this realization that what has been transpiring is what's currently breeding it in. It's like not realizing that it's not even just the thoughts, but it's the actions behind everything that have been continuing to play out. And as these actions keep happening, it creates the same cycle, Oh, well, I got bored and I talked to my karmic, in between whatever, boom, and then you're back into it again. It's the same cycle, and realizing that what they're putting in is exactly what keeps breeding this same situation out. So with the Death card here to the Three of Pentacles, obviously this is this transformation, ending, possibly rebirth of some sort of partnership. The Death card isn't so much as much about the rebirth as it is more like the ending. The positive connotation to it is that with the ending of something, it breeds space for a new beginning in some other area. And I do actually have a Death card that is more about new beginnings in this deck in particular, but it didn't come out, and it could have been here, and this could have been the Three of Pentacles up here. It didn't play out that way. So right away we have the Death card being present again, which to me really talks about kind of the ending of this partnership, business, whether this is a job or a karmic situation, or even if it is the ending of a feeling about partnership with the divine feminine. Some sort of transformation here. We have the Death card coming again. This talks about endings, and what we're talking about ending here is this lose-lose situation that's been going on for them. They're damned if they do, damned if they don't in their heart. If they leave the divine counterpart, their karmic partner, they end up feeling totally lost or shit on, or like they're abandoning somebody or doing something bad, or like they have to explain all these things. And there's a lot of lose-lose situations where they just feel like there is no winning. If they're with their karmic, they don't have their twin, and if they're with their twin, then their karmic, whatever that situation looks like. But it's lose-lose for them in this Five of Swords energy. There is no winner. But it's really the end of that here. And then we have the representation with the Empress. So this could be kind of a weird situation where maybe they end things with the karmic and then end things completely with the divine feminine as well. Or the Divine Feminine may end things with them ultimately closing out their lose-lose situation, which, however that plays out. But this also could be the ending of the partnership so they can end this lose-lose situation to proceed forward to the Divine Feminine as well. Um, I, Side note for the Empress, it doesn't necessarily also have to represent the Divine Feminine. This could talk about a rebirth as well. The Empress card actually does have the implications of rebirth, pregnancy, things of that nature. So with death, like death and the Empress are almost, backwards as well. Kind of like the Tower and the Sun here. One's about endings and this is about rebirth. So the ending of a lose-lose situation into a rebirth, potentially. And this could be them finding, their inner beauty. This could also be them finding, their inner divine feminine, finding that more nurturing, caring, compassionate, loving side to them, that more emotional side to them that maybe they're less familiar with. The swapping of the yin yang, as so to speak, where the balance of the shift may be occurring. Who knows? We'll see. So underneath the Nine of Swords with the Seven of Wands, the anxiety and stress, nightmares, sleepless nights, and then having to feel like they're having to stand their ground. We had the Knight of Pentacles, which obviously talks about them moving forward with some sort of grounded new offer, new beginning. And to me, this is almost like some fear in regards to doing that, like what would happen if I actually proceed forward here. And them kind of wanting to take it slow. Because it's interesting. We have two different knights that show up here, and I'm actually getting this as like two different messages. And to me, this is how it goes about playing out. Again, you have the Two of Swords over here. So you have two different options, is really how I'm reading it. Either way, if you're wanting to move forward with communication or some sort of thing, this is like the slow and steady, wins the race kind of thing, really grounded, offer, stable, whatever. And it looks like that's going to lead you to the Five of Cups, which is obviously not the best. The Five of Cups is really, mourning over the past, kind of still being stuck in that state of the past and really feeling those previous emotions. While there is still two cups behind you, the person still is really stuck on the three spilled cups. So it's almost like saying if you move too slow, you're still just going to stay stuck in the same energy. Whereas if you proceed fast, steady, and with fast, caution to the wind almost kind of speed. It's very quick and with passion, with desire, with longing, with intimacy. You get the Sun here instead, which is the most positive card in the deck. So this to me almost talks about like how you proceed forward. If you come at it too logically and slow and kind of like, well, I just want to be your friend, maybe we can try and start over and blah, 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 6 months from now, you're just going to end up with the Five of Cups. Whereas if you head forward quickly and with haste, and you meet them with that passion, that desire, that wildness of why they're even attracted to you in the first place. To me, this is kind of like, oh, well, you're going to be boring and slow and steady and make me work even harder. Like, you think I'm still trying to work for you? Like, I don't think you get it. You're lost. Is only going to be confronted with more, like, remorseful kind of shit. Whereas if it's like, oh my god, I finally see you for who you are. I totally have been craving you, longing you. I fucked up, whatever you need to say. But that kind of passion, that kind of intimacy and desire and longing, you get met with the Sun, which is, positivity, growth, warmth, happiness, that kind of feeling. So it's really about, not taking your time actually this time, which is so weird because the universe, I mean, for the Divine Feminine, it's like patience, patience, patience. Like if they could give me like 9 Knight of Pentacles. I swear to God, they would for the Divine Feminine. Like, it just patience everywhere, you know? And this is really actually telling you to embrace kind of that wilder side in the Divine Masculine's nature and really push forward. If you have a message of passion, deliver it. Don't sit here and figure out how to, plan this out, plot this out, make sure all your I's are dotted, T's crossed, that you have every last detail figured out before you proceed forward, because it's not going to work out. Well, I mean, it probably would. You still have the 2 cups behind you, but it's not going to work out the way you want it to. I mean, you want to be happy, right? You want the sun. You don't want the 5 of cups. Like, I'm just here to help. You take the message for whatever it means to you. All right. Oop. Fuck. I'm out of space over here. Alright. So, what we got going on here? So let's start with our overall ending energy here. The Star card is all about maintaining hope, believing in miracles, praying, holding out, and believing, having faith. The Star is all about that kind of energy. So really holding out high and hoping for the best, praying for the best, having faith that the universe is going to deliver for you. With that being said, the 9 of Wands with the 6 of Swords here. And I should say this with the Star. Especially considering where I know most of my followers are at, and kind of following just a general of what the hell is going on, and for a lot of people. To me, having hope and having faith right now it is really just kind of going like, all right, universe, do whatever you're gonna do. Whether it's this person or neither of these people, and you're gonna just surprise me again with something else. Like I'm just in a state of trusting and having hope and having faith that whatever is going to be delivered is going to be delivered, and it's going to be for the best of me. The 9 of Wands with the 6 of Swords here. So this is them leaving behind a situation of being defensive, and really wanting to pack up their bags and move on to something that's calmer, less turbulent, less bullshit. Just they're over it. They're fucking over it. And the reason being is that we have this 3 of Pentacles here. This same 3 of Pentacles with the Death card over here. To me, this really represents, them being over either this other person being in a public relationship with somebody else, or some sort of partnership that's been going on, whether this be a work situation, a family situation, some sort of public image that the Divine Masculine's got going on. I'm really picking up that they're just kind of moving on, basically because of whatever the fuck this is in the Divine Masculine's life, right? They're tired of waiting for the Divine Masculine to step into his Emperor role, or him, her, whatever. It's energy. It's not gender. So when we're talking about Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine, genders are really irrelevant. It's energy. It's yin yang. It's it's all an energy base here. So they're tired of waiting, for this emperor to show up here. They've been the empress for a while, or at least close to, or some sort of thing like that. And they're tired of waiting for this person essentially to take control over their life and just proceed forward and live for themselves. Which is why they're packing their shit up and moving on, or it's at least in their mindset of something that they've been contemplating, or something that they're really considering here. With the Two of Wands here, it's kind of like they feel like they have the world in their hand. And they're going like, all right, well, I have other options. I have other things I can do. Other people I could see, other areas I could go down. I'm sick of waiting for this person to essentially make up their mind about which way they're gonna go, and if they're gonna do this or not, and if they see this connection or not. Like it's really kind of like, all right, I'm planning it out, and having hope and having faith that either way it's going to work out, and it's going to work out for my best interest. But I'm getting sick of, this over here. I'm over it. I'm just done with it. And if this person's not going to actually take control over their life, I'm planning out, this 10 of Pentacles over here. What does my family look like? And all of a sudden, removing the image of potentially a divine masculine from being in this family, and maybe potentially replacing it with somebody else and saying, well, this is what my family looks like now. This is the person that I'm going to have the kids with, whom, whatever. And being able to start planning out this new direction of whatever that looks like. Whether that means removing the divine masculine or not, this could still be obviously planning it out, but saying like, how can this actually work, or whatever. And if it's going to work, they have to be willing to stand up for themselves. They have to be willing to live for themselves, and really take control over their life here. So underneath the 10 of Pentacles with Judgment, that's that next level of ascension, and trying to understand really what this new family looks like, this family element that they're desiring in their heart space, whether, or home life, even if not family, but home life, and this new level of ascension here. And the 9 of Pentacles is all about the harvest, seeing that their situation is ready to progress. It's ready to proceed forward. They have the materials that they need, or they have this stuff at their essence, essentially their fingertips, in order to really proceed forward, or they're getting close, because we have this 9 to 10 progression here that we're kind of looking at. It's understanding that things are getting really close for them to be able to have what it is that they've been desiring. Or at least feeling that things are about to change, and coming into this, 9 of Pentacles, where things can progress into this. And the Magician here really talks about stepping into a state of manifestation, to kind of be able to achieve, this harvest, and this home life here, this balance, or not balance, but like this progression, and really bringing in the family here. What do I really want? Because then we have this 10 of Swords right after that, which is betrayal, or the ending of betrayal. So it's kind of like, do I want to finally let go of this betrayal that I've been experiencing repeatedly, from the divine masculine, or whatever situation that's been holding this entire situation up. Do I want to finally let go of that so I can have this abundant home life here? Or is this something that I potentially am willing to risk again, in order to, have this person as the family that I've been thinking of? It's really taking in the time to manifest in the appropriate situation, as I feel like we're probably heading towards a pretty big test here, and kind of like, what is best for us? Are we willing to pick ourselves this time, or are we going to continue to pick the same cycle that repeatedly hurts us? And trying to figure out what that is. Obviously, we're going to need to go internal and really reflect on why it is that we need to make each choice that we make so that we can proceed down this path here. So with this coming in here, we have the overall likely outcome being this communication that leads to some sort of breakthrough here. And this breakthrough leads to a really honest, heart-to-heart kind of style conversation. Whether that's a heart-to-heart conversation with ourselves internally and saying, hey man, this person's either no good for us, or this person's everything that we want. We just need to chill the fuck out, whichever it is, however that looks. Or maybe this, maybe the other person, this new person is really the way to go. However this conversation plays out, whatever this breakthrough is for each person individually, it's going to be different. But there's going to be some sort of heart-to-heart or, genuine realization and conversation here about what they've been trapped in, what they've been feeling, bonded to and stuck in. And this heart-to-heart conversation really opens them up to another new idea, another new breakthrough. So this is going to be something that more than likely helps them break free of this Eight of Swords here, because the Eight of Swords is all mental. So as they have a new breakthrough, a new realization, a new understanding, they should be able to remove the barriers that have been holding them back through this genuine heart-to-heart conversation here. So let's get our final sets of cards here, I guess. Ending energy, the Eight of Cups, leaving situations that are not emotionally fulfilling. Five of Pentacles, the Two of Cups, and the Hangman. So we have basically this progression of making choices, right? And the choices that we make are either going to lead us to the Tower, and I don't know why, but I really feel like this actually goes here, like this, because I feel like this is really this is what I'm being guided with right now. So, which leaves us at the Two of Pentacles, which is talking about juggling two choices. And I feel like with everything else that's kind of gone on, I mean, we have the Two of Swords over here making a choice, juggling between two choices. This makes a lot more sense energy-wise too. So one set of choices right underneath the Tower, leaving something unfulfilling, feeling stuck out in the cold. If you don't make the right choice here, and which is potentially, I feel like, really leaving, you needing to leave something unfulfilling in order to proceed forward. And if you don't, you're going to get left out in the cold, and you're going to feel, kind of that abandonment, that shitty feeling, and go through that Tower moment here. The alternative is to pick the Sun, obviously, and head down this path. Whatever that looks like, whatever the advice is that stood out to you in this reading, that you went like, wow, I need to, figure out which choice, which decision to make, whether that's between two people, a karmic partner, whatever, you have the Sun here, which leads to the Two of Cups, which is like dating, relationship, happy times, good union, and seeing the situation from a new light, gaining a new perspective on it all. So you're really confronted with choices this week, and the choice to me here is leaving what's emotionally unfulfilling or being left out in the cold, or you can pick you know, basically to leave what's emotionally unfulfilling and get your dating situation, you know, and find that happiness. So it's really about coming down this pathway and this choice here, and going internal and reflecting on what choices and paths that ultimately make the most sense to you. Um, you know, what the seven of cups here to me comes across a lot as a test. And like, what have you learned? What has been provided to you? What have you taken in from this entire journey, you know, year to date? And are you finally in a place where you're willing to fully, you know, take the leap of faith, you know, and trust in the universe and see what it has to offer you, you know, even if it sounds crazy. And if not, you know, like, it sounds like things will get shaken up and we'll keep going and doing whatever. So, best of luck to everybody, guys. This is kind of a crazy reading, so I hope it works out well for everybody. A lot of heavy energy here. A lot of choices, obviously, that need to get made, and trying to figure out which direction people want to go. Um, you know, I feel like, yeah, you know, hmm. Best of luck to everybody, guys. Take it easy.